Hello, my name is David Johnson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Dakota. Dakota is a software company that focuses on customer experience solutions. And our claim to fame is that we identify the what and why behind customer behaviors. And we do that by analyzing customer feedback and identifying the customer's emotions or their state of mind or the topics that they're discussing, as well as a wide array of what we call cognitive states. We look at all that data simultaneously in order to understand the context of the conversation and identify very precisely what are the things associated with the product or experience that are moving the needle for your customer. Ultimately, this becomes very actionable for you as an executive. Well, we've had conversations with many executives over the last several months, and it's become quite clear to us that there's a lot of confusion in the marketplace. And so we've created this Dakota Executive Briefing Series in an attempt to elevate the level of awareness on technology and some other methodologies in the marketplace to help executives understand why they're seeing the things that they see that are presented to them in the meetings that they attend or the things that are sent to them. And so today I'm going to talk about some commoditization in the industry that I think is relevant, and I think it'll help you understand why perhaps you're not seeing things that are substantially different from what you've seen in the past, and why you see such commoditization in terms of the insights across the vendors that you might be working with as well. So let's talk about commodities. And I've had the great pleasure to work with a senior executive from the mattress industry recently. And I really like the analogy that he created here, which is the analogy of commoditization. He said, now imagine if you walk in to a mattress store and you're forced to make a decision the moment you walk in a door, and there you see 50 mattresses. Which one would you choose? And the answer is, well, it's impossible to make that decision until you know more, right? And so how you know more is you basically sit down with a store associate, you explain what your needs are, and they basically show you these examples of beds, and they talk about the construction, they talk about the materials that are involved in the construction as well, and then they talk about perhaps the carbon that's infused into the latex that draws body heat away because you want to have a comfortable, cool night of sleep. And now you have enough information to make a decision. So, not all beds are created equal, and you really need to go through that process of understanding what's unique about them. Well, now, imagine how easy the decision would be if all mattresses were made the exact same way and engineered the exact same way. You'd have this complete commoditization. But then you would need them to be able to meet every individual requirement of every individual, and that's, of course, nearly impossible. Well, I'm coming around to why I'm bringing this up, because we have some commoditization in the data science world that is quite problematic, and it is really the root cause of why you're not seeing a lot of distinction between perhaps the different vendors that you're working with or consulting agencies that you're working with. And let me expose this a little bit. So, first of all, open source technology is really fostering the concept of a sea of sameness as it relates to data insights and analytics. And the reason that is that every company is using the exact same platforms. Nobody's developing platforms from scratch. They're using these open source platforms. And you may be familiar with them because they're installed in your organization, but the vast majority of all technology firms that are selling to you are also leveraging these tools. So they're using Hadoop or Storm or Spark or all of them simultaneously. In addition, the people that they hire out of the universities are all going through the same curriculums. They're all being trained on the exact same methodologies. In addition, and I've reviewed thousands of resumes for engineers, and the project work that the candidates that come out of school are presenting in their resumes are all the same. So they all have this project. It's a deep learning or machine learning project where they analyze basically movie industry databases related to reviews, and it's all the same. Of course, in this whole process, there are a series of open source algorithms and libraries that people are using. And then fundamentally, everybody has access to the same data. With all this in mind, if everybody has access to the same tools, techniques, people, education, it's very difficult to kind of get innovation out of that because they're constrained by the decisions that they've made. Therefore, it should be no surprise that all these solutions and capabilities are substantially similar. So Dakota approached the market quite differently. Dakota's platform is vertically integrated from the ground up. We developed it from scratch because we didn't want to focus on abstracted views of information, and we weren't interested in delivering a essentially a market view. We wanted to move toward understanding the value of each customer interaction in real time. So we established a platform from the ground up. Our platform is so efficient that if we had to, we could run it on an iWatch that has all sorts of value associated with it that I'm not going to talk about today, but it is a very, very high-tech, efficient, and robust big data and analytics platform. Our analytics are based upon what we call interdisciplinary sciences. So we're not just primarily an engineering organization, we also infuse into our engineering activities cognitive psychology, corpus linguistics, the people that actually understand language. And they're all part of a rich integrated team that establishes algorithms that allow us to see things in data that others don't. When you just look at data through the lens of engineering, you don't necessarily see all the nuance that you need to see. And if you want to learn more about this, I created another video that talks about some of the deficiencies in text analytics. I think that would be worth viewing as well. So we leverage 10 different text analytics techniques, including our proprietary techniques. We generate data that is 100% unique to us that we use in algorithms. So the data that we generate as it relates to emotions and cognitive states and other things that we see in the data end up being very valuable independent variables and features in downstream analytics, which then allows us to produce a different insight and more actionable insight. So it should be no surprise that the results that we produce are substantially different from anything that you'll see from anybody else. I'd be more than happy to take you through this in much greater detail, but I think it's important to understand that open source technology is fostering, to some extent, a sea of sameness, perhaps not as much innovation. And we're very much an innovation company that's looking at doing things differently because we know that you're interested in insights that are actionable and you may not be receiving those today. So our whole focus is to understand or have a continuous understanding of the consciousness of each customer over time. And our whole goal is to give you that type of information so you can engage with customers in a very relevant way. So we'd love to have a conversation with you on this, or if you just want to talk about technology in general, please pick up the phone. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you. If you'd like this presentation, please reach out to me directly and I'll be happy to forward it to you. Thank you so much and have a great day.